A defense bill before the U.S. Senate includes money for land acquisition and construction for several projects at Tinker Air Force Base. In addition, the bill would prevent another round of base closures. This proposal comes as the military faces budget cuts and reduced manpower. Here with more on the measure and its impact on Oklahoma is Chris Castile. He joins us from the Oklahoman's office via Skype. He's in Washington, D.C. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Dave. Thanks.
Well, Chris, this seems like pretty good news. There's more than $100 million in construction money for Tinker Air Force Base and for Altus Air Force Base. What are the main projects?
So for the two bases together, Tinker and Altus, Altus was chosen earlier this year. It's a really big deal as the flight training base for this new aerial refueling tanker that Boeing is building for the Air Force, the KC-46A. It's still, they still haven't rolled a bunch of them off the assembly line yet, but they're getting ready. The Air Force is trying to get ready for it. So they chose Altus as the training base for this new refueling plane, and Tinker, which has the huge repair depot, as we know, is going to repair this plane, do the routine maintenance on the engines and airframe. So a lot of this money, the military construction money, a big portion of this $100 million you mentioned, is going to prepare for this KC-46A. Altus is getting money to build a simulator facility, and Tinker, as you said, needs to acquire some land near where the old GM building, the Tinker Aerospace complex is. And then they're going to have to build new hangars. This plane is so big, they're going to have to build new hangars for it. As big as Tinker's, depot facilities are, they're not big enough for this plane. So this is kind of the start of getting ready for this new plane. And this is, I think, kind of just the beginning of this construction money that's going to be necessary to get ready for the plane. I think Altus is going to start training on it in 2016, and probably the first maintenance at Tinker will be, maybe 4 years from now.
We're chatting with Chris Castile via Skype. He's in Washington, D.C. Chris, you're not kidding about the size of the land out there that Tinker Air Force Base has.
Already, yeah.
I was out there on a client shoot for another project just a month or two ago, and I was surprised. I guess I hadn't been in that area in a while. It's massive out there.
It is, and as an aside, Dave, some of these other projects that Tinker is getting, there's a Navy project, or a project for the Navy plane. That it's kind of a command and communication plane that the Navy has out at Tinker. There's an Air Force Reserve project. You've got, just pure Air Force projects. Really, Tinker is really a diverse base. Lots of missions. A lot of our focus, a lot of the public focus, I think, is on that repair depot because there's so many civilian employees. And that's where the largest the manpower is out there at Tinker. But it really is a diverse base.
Well, it looks like they're throwing money towards the future here. So the fact that these two bases are getting such an important new mission, are we talking long-term security here?
That's a good point. I mean, as you mentioned, the Pentagon wanted another round of base closures for 2015, the year after the elections. Congress isn't going to give them another round of base closures. And, I know there's always understandably, a lot of anxiety in Oklahoma about another round of base closures. They're so important to the communities where they are. But, as you say, getting the KC-46A is great for Altus, obviously. Tinker, it's just, I think it's just an indispensable base to the Air Force. And Fort Sill, down around Lawton, got a lot of a big new mission from the last round of base closures. But, I think these are very secure bases, and these construction projects, as you say, I think are investments in the future.
Well, job security is something important to all of us, and you never really know how secure any job is, I guess. Chris Castile with analysis and perspective from Washington, D.C. Thanks so much for your time today, sir.
You bet, Dave.
All right, more coverage from our man in Washington can be found online at newsok.com and in upcoming editions of the Oklahoman.